Hello students. The purpose of this video is to provide you some information about your gradebook and also help you in completing the gradebook evaluation form that is due this Friday. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to show you a little bit about your gradebook, and then we'll talk about the gradebook evaluation form so that you know what you ought to do for it. So when you get into, I'm logged in and I've made my my view look like the student view. Excuse me. And to evaluate your gradebook, you simply need to go into Grades. And once it logs in there, you'll be able to see everything you've turned in. Now, for this student, I've given them grades so that it looks kind of like a typical student. They start out really well in the quarter, and they are doing pretty well. 60 out of 75 on the CCQ. That's about 80%, and they're doing pretty well in most of their assessments and stuff like that. But you'll see here that during module week 3, they kind of forgot. They just get things done, and so they have some zeros there. Now, when you scroll down, you can see the impact that has on their overall score. So as we look here, you can see in this gray area, this is the summary of your grade. With those with that missing module having not been completed, you can see that it has impacted the assignments, participation, and CCQ totals. The important information to note here is that these are the 5 grading categories. You can also see them up here. Each of these is worth 20% of your grade, right? 20% of your final grade. But it's very important that you understand one key bit of information. First of all, this number here is your final grade if and only if your grading categories all have a number of 60 or higher. If the number in these grading categories falls below 60, so 59 and below, and that means 59.9 and below, then that means this grade here is nullified. It's an F. The requirement in this class is that you pass each of these grading categories with a score of 60% or higher to be able to pass the class. So even though the student has a 72.5% total accumulation of points, this little guy right here, this 55%, is keeping this student from passing the class. Now, let me show you what would happen if the student had not missed those assignments, and we'll see how that impacts the overall score. Okay, so I've made the adjustment to this student here, and now they still missed that practice exercise, but they've scored about 80% on those. Instead of missing them, they got a score of about 80%. So now let's go back down and see how that has impacted their overall grade. And look at that. This student is doing quite well in the class. They've got a B+ going, moved from a failing grade in this category to a low B, and the other categories are also much higher. Now, this is the reason I show you that is to show you how impactful 1 week's missed assignments can be on your overall grade. I would really encourage you to keep a very good track of your progress in the class, be checking your grade book, and making sure that you know where you stand in the class so that you're not caught off guard at the end of the quarter. One of the ways I help you do that is with the gradebook evaluation form. So that's now available in Module 4. And what you'll do is you will take this and you will complete the blue lines there. So if I was the student going to, let me see if I can get this, make sure it stays within my screen here. It'll disappear for a moment, and let me scroll down. Okay, so if I was this student, I would say in this category, I'd highlight that, 87.6%. If I go here, assignments is 82.3%. This one is 89.2%. And this one is 91.2%. Okay, I would then make sure I've completed all this information here. I would also save the file according to that naming convention, and then highlight and erase everything from there. This is what you'll submit through the gradebook evaluation form. Now, the reason why I have students do these evaluation forms 3 times during the quarter is because in the past I would have students who would get to the end of the quarter and they would say, oh, Mr. Wallace, I'm failing the class. Is there anything I can do? And they often express being kind of caught by surprise that they were not doing well in the class. So that's why it's really important to review your grade book and complete those grade book evaluations. But the real problem for a student who comes at the end of the quarter saying, hey, is there anything I can do, is that the answer is no. By the end of the quarter, it's too late. The time to do something about your grade is right now. So make sure you know where you stand in the course. Make sure you get your assignments in before the deadlines. If you miss an assignment deadline, make sure that you submit the assignment anyway. It will receive partial credit, not a lot, but partial credit, and it will prevent you from doing as poorly as you might in the class. There should be also an extra credit assignment that will come up later in the quarter, and you can use that to assist your grade as well. But the best thing you can do at this point is to get the work in on time and make sure that it is done well so that you can receive the maximum amount of points possible. Okay, if you have questions about the gradebook evaluation or understanding and interpreting the gradebook, please let me know. One more reminder, it doesn't matter what this grade says right here. That doesn't matter if any of these grades in these 5 categories is below a 60%. Okay, 60% is what you're shooting for in each of these to be able to pass the class. All right, that's all for now. If you have questions, please let me know, and take care.